Hi everyone, I'm Eden, and I am Guesty's Senior Director of Customer Solutions. And I am here to talk to you today about Guesty's Open API. Here at Guesty, we are a product-led company, which means that we spend a lot of time and effort making sure that our company adheres to industry best practices around research and development. One of those best practices is making sure that we expose a robust and useful Open API, which is exactly what Guesty has done. We actually use this API ourselves when building new features and expanding our product. This means that our APIs adhere to the most stringent security practices, have generous rate limits, and in general cover almost anything and everything you might want to do with them around our property management software. I thought I'd take the time today to showcase to you what could be done with these APIs. So, I'm here at Guesty's Open API developer portal, which you can find by simply punching in this URL or Googling Guesty Open APIs. On this website, you'll find anything you need to work with our APIs themselves. Of course, you'll find a full API reference covering each and every method, its payload, the expected response, and so on and so forth. But you'll also find a lot of handy guides. These guides are actually a layer that sits above the APIs and guides you into performing common use cases using our code. So if, for example, you want to build something complex, like reconstructing the booking flow from scratch and allowing the guest to create an end-to-end reservation using the APIs, we have a handy guide that will show you how to do this, what are the basic concepts you have to understand, and what a flow like that might look like. We also include things like payment tokenization, how to alter reservations, how to work with the tokens that are created from the API, and more and more. Of course, as I mentioned, you can also click through to the API reference yourself and explore. As I said, we pride ourselves on the breadth and the depth of these APIs, which means that almost every single part of the product is available over them. Listings, reservations, guests, fees, taxation, and more. In addition, we also have an array of webhooks, which allow you to subscribe to real-time updates from our platform when common events like new payments are received, reservations are created or altered, and more and more. This allows you to build complex applications that use Guesty as a real-time database, updating your code whenever something happens inside of the product. There are, of course, many different use cases you could use Guesty's Open APIs to build. We've had people in the past build an owner's portal from scratch, reconstruct a booking engine, and do more things around accepting payments, creating new reservations, offering unique experiences, and more. I'd like to give you an example and show you a tool that I built using our APIs. This is a pretty simple tool that runs in Postman and uses some common methods to achieve a very common use case, which is taking a listing and duplicating it several times. Internally, we use this when standing up a new trial account. We don't want that account to be blank. We have a good listing we would like to use as a source, and we'd like to spin off some copies of it so that prospects looking into Guesty can play around with the platform and get a feel for it. But you might use it to do many other things, like creating sandboxes for testing, or simply duplicating a listing which you think is very nicely configured and is performing really well, and you'd like to use that listing as a template for new properties. So let's understand how this tool works. First, we authenticate with the origin account from which the listing is coming from. Then we retrieve that origin listing we would like to duplicate. We authenticate with the destination account to where we want to move the listing. And then we duplicate the listing. However, there are also many other entities inside of Guesty that support a property, like an owner, tasks, guests, and reservations. So for good measure, And to make sure that our new destination account looks nice, we will also create some of these entities. I'm going to take the ultimate risk, and I'm going to try and run this code live on this demo and show you how it all works. Before I do that, here is the destination account. Right? It's a Guesty account. It is currently blank. There are no properties on it. And so when I run this collection, I'm going to run it. We'll run it just once, but we can also iterate on it and run it multiple times. I'm going to put in a 1 second delay just to avoid any race conditions. And now we will run our workflow. So running in real time. This, by the way, also connects into rate limiting. As I mentioned, we have pretty generous rate limits. We can even increase them on an account-by-account basis to support more intricate and heavy-duty workflows. My workflow has stopped running. It is completed. And now when I hit refresh, I should find a test listing. I use the code to programmatically set its name to a random name. If I click on it, I can see that all of the information from my origin property has copied over, including images, nicknames, addresses, configurations, pricing, everything else that exists on the property level has been duplicated. If I go into the multi-calendar, I'll also find my fake reservations. Again, I set these names programmatically using my postman environment. And I'll also find owners that I created when running this workflow. That's pretty much it. Now, this is a simple use case for our API, but you can imagine how we'd use this tool to do more complicated things. If you have any questions or you're interested in learning more, please feel free to reach out to us and we would be happy to talk to you. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.